Greetings, my wonderful friends. I am Dr. Jimmy. This is Lenny the Wonder Cat. Yes, what a nice kitty. And we welcome you once more into the conservatory of madness. Welcome indeed. And now at last I'm able to catch up on all of the Horror Nights announcements that have been made so far this year, unless another one is going to happen immediately. Who knows? Last time I checked, though, it was a tale. Yes, last time I checked, there hadn't been one yet, although it could happen at any moment. It could happen before the day is over, although it's already past 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and usually they make those around noon, but you never know. Or maybe they're waiting for this coming week. Maybe tomorrow. It is today, Sunday, June 2nd, 2019, which means that Halloween Horror Nights 29 is now, I believe, 13 weeks and 5 days from today. And it would be then only 3 months and 4 days until the event begins on September 6th, or, if you prefer, 96 days. 96 is the most unfriendly number. They're facing the wrong way. Oh, that's bad, Dr. Jimmy. I'm sure Bill and Ted would understand. What number am I not thinking of, dude? 96. No one wants to think of that one. Exactly. Hello, Lenny. She's sitting on some notes, but I don't really need those notes. Those weren't for this video. You silly cat, you think you're styling me. You put a piece of paper down, a cat will sit on it. You put a box on the floor, a cat will play in it. If it fits, she sits. Right, Lenny? That's a cat thing. Yes. You wouldn't understand, you human. All right, so... preliminary. The T-shirt. Oh, do I dare show you a shirt when I'm wearing a lighter-colored shirt? It makes me look fat. Oh, well. I am fat. Here it is. Amity Island welcomes you. Enjoy the sand, surf, and fun, but beware the fishies. Yes. Oh, yes. A lovely Jaws-related shirt. So that's the shirt for today. It's bleeding hot and might as well wear one. It feels like the middle of summer, even though technically summer doesn't start until I think it's the 21st. Yes, and that's, oh, I guess that's only 2 weeks and 5 days from today. But that's, so it's closer than I thought. It gets closer all the time. And next thing you know, Horror Nights will be here in September. Oh, so finally to catch up, this reaction, anticipation video for the news that was received is for an announcement that was made week before last. Tuesday, week before last, May 21st. Therefore, 12 days ago. That's pretty good. Not even 4 weeks ago, so I'm catching up. And it was the most recent announcement. And it was an announcement for Orlando. A 4th haunted house announced for Orlando this year. The 2nd original house so far. Again, if rumors are correct, and you never know, there will be 5 of each. 5 IPs, 5 originals so far. We've had 2 IPs and 2 originals announced. So, there are 3 more of each, perhaps, or at least there are 6 more houses we have to wait and hear about, although people who have lists of speculation maps and such, think they know what they're going to be already. But sometimes they don't seem to know what they are when they've already been announced. But I'll get to that in a moment. So, on that day was announced that house, and it is called Depths of Fear. Yes, an original house that is set in a deep-sea underwater mining facility. Michael says it's like a capsule, and in this underwater facility, those people working in that facility encounter something strange, horrific undersea creatures, sort of fishmen perhaps, something out of Lovecraft, or perhaps some sort of mutation, and they are called mouth brooders. Now here, I'll provide a visual aid. What I'm going to do is pick up my little iPhone, and I'm going to go to Google, and for fun, let's just Google mouth brooder. And you're thinking, well, isn't it just a made-up monster for the haunted house? There are many species of fish, and even some frogs, that are called mouth brooders. You see, any fish that carries its eggs in its mouth is a mouth brooder. Here's a good example. Look at that. Ew. And this one, I think, is a frog of some sort that is mouth brooding. No, this is a fish as well. It just kind of has a froggy-looking face. Yes, there are many species that are classified as mouth brooders. And what they do is they brood, protectively brood their eggs by carrying them about in their mouth. So these fish know enough not to swallow their own eggs, because that would be counterproductive. Here's another one. Many varieties. Here, see? I don't know if they'll be quite as brightly, prettily colored, the fish men or fish monsters in the house, but that's the idea. They carry their eggs around for protection so that predators can't devour those eggs, you see. And in some of these species of fish, the little eggs hatch out, and even for a while, when the little baby fishies are still tiny, they'll swim right back into their mum or dad's mouth for protection. And mum or dad know enough not to eat their own babies, because that's, well, that's just bad form. Although, oh, I need to shave. My whiskers are bothering me. Getting all over makes my whole face. It's probably because it's hot and sweaty in here too. Oh, but I need to take care of that next time I do a video. Not tonight's video, which will probably still be hairy, but sometime later this week if I do another one, and you might see me all clean shaven again, like I should be, and I don't look so old from the white whiskers that pop out here and there, making me look like the cat with her white whiskers, and Lenny has this. I just haven't gotten around to doing that, which I should. But enough talk about silly things that are beside the point. So the fish carry these little eggs in their mouths, and sometimes the baby fish go back into the mouth for protection. This is nature, and yes, but I'm not Stephen now. Well, not Stephen. Was his name Stephen? Oh, no, I'm not David. I'm not David Attenborough doing a documentary on the BBC or the Discovery Channel or Animal Planet. No, I'm Dr. Jimmy. I'm talking about something far more hideous beasts. The mouth brooder eggs are highly acidic. Yes, highly acidic. And when they find their human victims, they spit those eggs right on the human victims where the acid causes them to eat into their flesh, and they incubate inside their bodies, turning them into parasitic hosts. Oh, that's hideous and wonderful. How gruesomely delightful. And I must say that I find the whole thing just fun. Yes, reverse sushi. What lovely, lovely concepts. When I first heard about these, I didn't quite know what was going on before I read all the descriptions, and I thought something Lovecrafty, maybe, but no, it seems to be more along the lines, as ILO has explained. It is an homage, or, to old deep underwater science fiction horror movies, especially from the 80s. Think about films like Leviathan, and what was the one? Lords of the Deep or something was one of them. Deep Star 6, I think, was another one. Ones that deal with underwater submarines or other underwater facilities being overrun by horrible underwater mutants. And that's the sort of thing they're getting at. And I want to re-emphasize deep-sea underwater mining capsules that are like craft or like buildings that are deep underwater with high-pressure suits and stuff, in which they really almost don't do nowadays yet. It's a bit futuristic. It's a little BioShock, isn't it? And well, maybe not. But anyway, it's and fits into that genre, you see? And therefore has abso-freaking nothing to do with a certain haunted house at another theme park's haunted attraction last year. But some people insist that this is a direct rip-off and copy of that. I mean, you might as well say that, oh, this is a rip-off of any house that ever had a fish in it. I get a little passionate, not because I want to be defensive about Universal, although I love Universal, but I just don't like it when people say stupid freaking things that are basically based on false premises and are illogical and dumb, because I'm a little bit pedantic. I am a professor, and I do have an inner Sheldon Cooper that sometimes bursts out and says, no, that's not right. And especially when I think this is just being done to stir controversy. Some people like nothing better than to cause a kerfluffle on the internet. Trolls. And you know what happens to trolls? Harley, not Harley, that's a giveaway. Talking about borrowing things from other sources, huh? Okay. Chance will smack you with a bat full of nails. That's what'll happen if you're a troll. Dick troll. Yes. But let me go back. All right. Last year, Knott's Berry Farm had, of course, they have a venerable haunt that goes back to I think, somewhere around 1972 or 1973. I don't remember the exact first year. I was a little boy, and I wasn't in California at the time. But way back in the early 70s, somewhere around there, thus over 40 years ago, and they'll probably have a 50th anniversary coming up soon, Knott's Berry Farm began a haunted attraction called Not Scary Farm. And through the many decades, this has become a true institution of October activity for local people in Southern California. When I visited my relatives in that part of the world as I was a teenager, unfortunately, I never visited in the month of October during that haunt season. That usually was around Christmas or the summer. Yes, excuse me. Get a little excited. No, So I never got a chance to see Knott's Scary Farm, but I did go to the Knott's Berry Farm Park in the lovely town of Buena Park, California. Not too far away from Anaheim and other Orange County suburban communities. And the attitude of my cousins and others who were growing up in that area was that, oh yeah, Disneyland is like for tourists, you know, but the local kids, when we want to have fun, we'll go to Knott's Berry Farm. That's what they said, and their mom said, sometimes people get knifed there. I think it's safer to go to Disneyland. So you get the idea of some of the attitudes people had. What's that noise? Oh, I left something on pause on my television, and if you go away from the pause very long, it turns off and then it comes up again with noise. Silly Jimmy. You know, it had one of those screensavers floating around, so I thought, oh, I can leave it, but I forgot it as that. So if you hear noises in the background, that's what that is. Ignore them. Ignore them. For a moment I thought I was hearing voices. That was disturbing. Anyway, I tell you what, I hate doing this because I have to get up and it's been, what, 16 minutes. I don't want the video to get too long, but I have to go turn that off because it's bothering me. I'll be right back. That is so much better. Oh, that was just so loud. Maybe it wasn't loud for you, but it was really annoying me. Some sort of motor car racing came up. I don't really like motor. I know a lot of people enjoy it, but for me it's like round and round and round and it just, I find that very monotonous unless there's a motor accident, and then it's like, ooh, but that's so wrong. But I bet there are a lot of people go to the car races just in case there is a crash. I know that sounds horrible, but it's human nature. All over the track, little bits and pieces of human nature. Oh, that's terrible, Jimmy. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. The controversy, the highly contrived controversy. Oh, yes, Knott's Scary Farm is a venerable institution. There are probably grandparents or great-grandparents already who have gone to the event as young people and now take their children and then their grandchildren and maybe go with their great-grandchildren to go to Knott's Scary Farm today. You can't say that about Halloween Horror Nights. The oldest one, if you go all the way back to 1986, would be, well, not even yet 33 years ago. And only a few, you know, it was only 3 nights, and it didn't have the huge crowds it has now. I bet there are very few people who can say they've been to all of them. It's almost physically impossible now because you have to be able to go from California to Orlando to Tokyo, not Tokyo, to Osaka and Singapore, the 4 different places where it's happening now. And if you include Barcelona back in the early part of this century as well, to have attended all 69, dude. Yes, that's the number. Halloween Horror Night events that have been held since 1986. You'd have to be quite a bit of a frequent flyer and zip around. And I don't know if there's any person alive who's attended every single event in every single park. But there are people who've attended all the ones in Orlando, and probably people who've attended all the ones in Hollywood. But there's lots of people who go to Knott's Scary Farm every year over and over again. And I'd say maybe for now 4 generations since the thing began all those years back, nearly 50 years ago. It's a venerable institution, and I've never been able to attend it, and I always wanted to, and I have nothing against them at all. And they've done marvelous things that I've looked at on the internet, and there's even books. There's even a coffee table book about that event. Hey, do one for Universal, if they could, but I don't think they can for various reasons. But wouldn't it be nice if there was a coffee table book with the whole history of Horror Nights in it, like they did a few years ago for Not Scary Farm? Oh. The haunted house they had last year that has been brought up repeatedly by many people saying, "You're just ripping off Not Scary Farm, man," was called The Depths. And yes, the name, The Depths, Depths of Fear. Oh my goodness, they both have the word depths in it. Oh my goodness, it must be just plagiarism. Except, I didn't go to last year's event, but I could see the haunted house completely because there are very nice videos. And I recommend anyone now to pause my video, and if I know how to put in a link, I would, but I'm not quite sure I know how to. I tried that once and it didn't work. So I'm not sure about putting in a link. But I do know this. All you have to do is go to your Google or whatever search engine you like, but it works very well on Google, and type in Not Scary Farm, The Depths. And next thing you know, you'll find a page that contains links to YouTube videos, including one that is a walkthrough of the house. And apparently it wasn't a very dark house. It looks very brightly lit as you go through, even though it's supposed to go in some caverns. It's very brightly lit. You can see all the detail, almost too much of the detail. It's a bit cartoonish, and it takes you through the whole house. And then I read the description at the website, and you can still find last year's website with all the details about what they did last year. And I read what they did with the Depths and what it was supposed to be about. I'm not talking about the promotional video, which I also looked at, but the walkthrough video, which is very crystal clear. And let me tell you, what Universal has been describing, and what Michael has been talking about in this deep-sea underwater mining facility, has absolutely nothing at all to do with what they did last year in Knott's Berry Farm. The only similarity is that the ocean and mining are involved, except the ocean, you're not deep underwater in the ocean in Knott's house, at least not really. And the mining is guys in those helmets with the lamps and the gas masks and the picks, you know, in caves in the earth, not in the water, nowhere near the freaking water apparently, but in actual mines that are mining coal or something like that. Not underwater mines, but old-fashioned mines. Because the house is set in the year 1900. There are 1900. There were no deep-sea underwater mining facilities in 1900 any more than there were aeroplanes or computers or spacecraft, at least not from this planet. No, this is turn of the century crap. Turn of the 20th century crap. Before World War II, before World War I. Way back then. The year my grandmother was born. Way back, ancient stuff. 119 years ago. So was there a Lovecraftian thing? Perhaps, because Lovecraft would have been working at that time. Furthermore, this house, so yeah, the original ideas in the house, because that's what someone was saying, it's really awful that they have to steal someone else's original ideas. Yeah, H.P. Lovecraft, Pirates of the Caribbean, Atlantis. I could find all kinds of ideas, whoever designed. I'm not trying to criticize the designer of the house at Knott's Scary Farm. I'm not. No. It's very lovely. I would have enjoyed it. It was very camp and silly and tongue-in-cheek. Not at all what I expect to have here. But original ideas, I think if H.P. Lovecraft had lawyers today and was alive today, he'd be very upset, saying, "What do you mean original ideas? Don't call my ideas original ideas." And I think, and I'm surprised that another very powerful Southern California theme park company, who has very nasty lawyers, didn't actually get involved. Because there were a couple things in there that were right out of a certain movie from, Mickey Mouse. And I'll get to that in a moment. But I went and go look at the video, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. Did you look at the video? I hope you looked at the video. So now you saw that. You saw what I'm talking about. You start out in an old-fashioned mine, not a deep-sea underwater facility. Then you go through some chambers that I don't know what they're supposed to be. And then you're in what looks like perhaps Atlantis or Relais or someplace. There's some Lovecraftian pastiche. There's a big octopus that looks like Squidly Diddly, but I guess he's meant to be Cthulhu. And then what do you have? Some funny zombie sharks, and Pirates of the freaking Caribbean. I mean, it's Davy Jones and some other pirate, Sharkhead and a couple others. They're right out of the gosh darn Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Whichever one that had the Davy Jones in it. Was that the second or third one? I don't remember which one it was. Stranger Tides, whatever it was. The one that had that guy. And it's so close to that, I'm surprised that it didn't get sued by Disney. Oh. And it's lighthearted, camp, and silly. And each section is like completely, unrelated to what you saw before. It's like, so all these things fit in the same underwater universe, I suppose. Maybe it's meant to be an anthology. In the promotional video, these miners were kidnapped, apparently, and taken to caves near the ocean where they were sacrificed by cultists to some sort of Cthulhu god. And yes, there's some sort of cultists running around in robes and hoods. So, original ideas, yes. If you're calling this your original idea, there's a gentleman here from the Esoteric Order of Dagon of Innsmouth, Massachusetts, who wants to ask you just how original you think your ideas are. Exactly. So, there's nothing about that maze that I think really fits in with the one in Orlando this year. Because, again, just because it takes place in the water and involves some miners of some sort, it's not the same kind of mine or the same kind of miners. It's as different as, say, the Kitty Hawk airplane that the White brothers flew, the one made out of bits, wood and paper with a bicycle motor, little motor on it, that flew about 5 feet off the ground for 12 feet or something. I may not have those figures exactly right, but you get the idea. To, the space shuttle. They're both things that fly, but that doesn't mean that they are in any way the same. And so, just because there is the idea of mining and the ocean doesn't mean that they are rip-offs of it. I would think that would be obvious. I would really think that would be obvious. And I didn't see anything with fish eggs in its mouth. So there's all sorts of weird creatures, all sorts of creatures in the depths last year, from big octopus to cultists to some sort of fishmen-looking creatures of different types, something that almost looked like a mermaid, I suppose, a shark with cancer, or perhaps it's meant to be zombie shark, and then, of course, our friends from Davy Jones' locker from the Pirates movies. And all of these things don't sound anything at all like what they're going to do this year in Orlando. So that's the reason that it bothered me. Bothers me still, because some people just want to stir up some sort of conflict. Why would you want to do that? What good would it do you? Yeah. Oh, just to sit back and watch people get mad. Is that it? Well, fuck off. because it's going to hurt the event if you get people riled up, and then there might be some litigation or conflict, or people will hurt, you know. I don't want to hurt anyone's haunt. I want knots to flourish. I want horror nights to flourish. I want the one that happens at Busch Gardens. What is it? Hallows Scream. Let it flourish as well. Anyone's little amateur home haunt. Yes, let hauntings prevail and be abundant. I have to talk to that puppy. I'll be right back. Oh. Okay, I'm back. Oh dear. Is that still working? Is this still running? I hope so. Oh, good. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. I have half a mind to start the whole damn video over again, except I really don't feel like it. So there's going to be long stretches of emptiness, and I very much apologize. But when the phone barks the way it did, that's a special ringtone for a special person that I must speak to. You know. So I have to take it. And I got back as quickly as I could. And basically what I was saying, though, is that I don't believe that this controversy is well founded. And I know people have said, oh, what about they had a carnival-themed house, and they had a carnival-themed house in Orlando. But again, I don't think they're all that similar. And my goodness, every freaking haunt has had carnival-themed haunted houses. I mean, circuses, carnivals, clowns. That idea has been used over and over again all around the world in spooky attractions. Oh, please. And apparently, there is a rumored house this year, which hasn't even been officially announced yet, mind you. And so we don't even know exactly what it is, except for a rumor about something about it that might match up with another thing they did in Knott's. Again, you're going to make a controversy before you even see what it is. You know, there's all sorts of things you can do with one idea. And you know, I could pull a couple of comparisons as an example, but I don't want to give away, since it hasn't been officially announced, even though a lot of people already have heard it. But, you know, I don't want to do that. But when it does get announced, I will probably rant about that too, if there continues to be fallacious controversies. Again, I recommend people take a look at the walkthrough video for the house in question they had last year at Knott's, and then go to the event and compare the two, and you'll see they're very different in every way. Especially since the one they did in Knott's is almost comedy. It's rather cartoonish, and I'm not criticizing it that way. I'm just saying it's different because I like that sort of thing as well. But there's different types of haunted houses, and it's always, I always enjoy camp and silliness along with the more, oh my God, that is so terrifying, I'm going to pee myself type of houses. Of course, it's always rather subjective what frightens one person or another. So, OMG, I have wrapped up then all of my reactions and anticipation videos for Halloween Horror Nights 29 and, and other horror nights as well, like Hollywood, all the announcements that have been made up to the current date. Unless, let me check my phone. Is there something on here about an announcement now? I don't see one, so maybe not yet. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, who knows. But probably at some time in the near future we'll start hearing about more haunted houses. If the pattern that they've established so far this year, last year it seemed like they were doing a similar pattern, but then things altered. So I don't know. But if they are following a pattern, it may be that the next announcement is an IP. Perhaps one shared with Hollywood, perhaps one that is not shared with Hollywood. And so, whenever that might be. And I hope tonight to do my last Scare Zone cocktail video for Horror Nights 28. Although really it's not exactly a Scare Zone, not exactly a cocktail. But to wrap it up tonight, and at some point resume my history of Halloween Horror Nights 25. And also I can start figuring out what the haunted house cocktails for this year will be. Haven't done that yet. So with all of that, I leave you now. And I hope you've endured this silly video, but it hasn't been too long. It's only 37 minutes right now. And I've done videos well longer than that. And I bid you all pleasant screams and enjoy the rest of your miserable little lives.